This little fella does not like the hot days, and he's been camping here. This has become his spot. He's just sitting here and panting. Being an unhappy little swamp wallaby. And he's probably going to get more unhappy still, because that shadow line. Oh, what did you want to go and hop out there for? Eh? Eh? What did you want to go out there for? You want to have a little bit of a feed? There we go. He's gone over to join little old Mr. Whitetail. Sitting in the shade of the machinery shed. Very difficult to see. It's okay, I'm not chasing you away. $31.5. Two metres off the ground in the shade. On the cool side of the tree. Facing the South Pole. January having given us 27, 29, 29, 29, 31, 30, 26, 23, 24, 30, 29, 32, 30, and today it's 31. So mate, from what I can make out, the drought, as brought to us by Barnaby Joyce, is about 3 degrees hotter than the one we had brought to us by Tony Windsor 11 years ago. 3 degrees on average. It's a degree warmer overnight. It's 5 degrees warmer during the day. And we have between 3 and 15 times more hot days than we used to have. Yeah, that's what I think. Bloody awful, isn't it? Last week, 1 million fish died in the Darling River. And this morning, the New South Wales government announced that they expect there to be 5 days where the temperature in Western New South Wales reaches 45 degrees this week. And therefore, there are going to be a whole lot more fish dying. And the cotton irrigators say, oh no, don't blame us for sucking all the water out of the river when 3 times in a row the scientists told the Murray-Darling Basin Water Allocation Commission how much water had to go to the environment, and 3 times Barnaby Joyce, the Minister for Water and the Environment, slashed the scientists' allocation for the environment by 50%. 3 times. So about 12% of the actual scientific minimum necessary for the Murray-Darling Basin to begin to recover following the millennial drought, got about 12.5% of that water. And when you've got a shallow trickle where there used to be a big, broad, deep river, and you get a week of hot weather, the shallow little trickle heats up a whole lot more, and you get a bigger algae bloom, and then there's no oxygen in the water in the trickle, and then your 100-year-old 50-kilogram fish all die. But Barnaby Joyce's mates in the irrigation industry, they don't want to acknowledge that, and the Australian Minister for Water and the Environment, a Senator Little Proud, He says it's got nothing at all to do with how much water you suck out. The problem is it's the bloody drought. It hasn't rained, he says. The only silver bullet to fix this is rain. So I'm sorry, mate. My species has screwed the pooch in terms of global warming. We have created the drought, and we have made sure that the land has absolutely zero resilience to cope with high temperatures and low rainfall. Because as Barnaby Joyce said, you can't go listening to bloody environmental scientists and climate scientists. If you paid any attention to what they got to say, you wouldn't get anything done in Australia. Whereas I was considered a ratbag for telling people that global warming culls and you have to vote green or die. Because Barnaby Joyce and the Nationals and the fossil fuel lobby, they're going to lead us into prosperity forever and ever, amen, because he's such a good little Catholic. So, mate, for whatever it's worth, I have failed to convince the rest of humanity to stop shitting in the sky and making a mess of the climate with their obsession with growth and profit and productivity. Man ageing the landscape, extracting 100 years of sustainable harvest every 12 months. Productivity, squeezing the tits of Mother Earth in order to extract more milk. So the least I can do is share the bloody biscuits, eh? And the bread. Go some way to make up for all the parts of Australia where the wildlife is no longer permitted to live. Lest they interfere with some fat cat trendy money grubbing arsehole's profit margin. Isn't that how it works, mate? The trouble with the irrigationists is that if they see a litre of water in the river going downstream past their downhill boundary fence, they regard that litre of water as having been wasted because they didn't pump it out and feed it to their livestock or irrigate their pasture or their crop with it. They don't accept that everyone and everything else in the ecology has a right to get its water as well, or their water as well. That's the big problem with the cult of harvest everythingism. So if it keeps on like this for another week or two, should be a very interesting celebration on January the 26th, Invasion Day. When Scott Morrison wants everybody to dress up in their Sunday best to celebrate the theft and destruction of a continent that had been under conservative land management for 60,000 years. Warble's not a lot to YouTube. Ciao.